So, I am very excited for today's Could Be Pretty Cool just launched episode because the person that I'm chatting with is someone who is very much known to us here at Could Be Pretty Cool and to you all too, whether you know it or not. AJ has been working with us, goodness, 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
Almost three, I think.
Almost 3 years off and on as our, I guess, visual guru, visual lead. They have designed cover art, they've designed logos, they have designed graphics that you see on our website, on our all the stuff, all the things that are happening. It could be pretty cool. So I am very excited to introduce you all to AJ. AJ, hello.
Hello, I'm AJ. I am an illustrator primarily, sometimes writer, and I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited. I mean, we chat in like a, all right, here's the project, here's the thing, capacity, but so rarely do, we just get the opportunity to like chop it up a little bit. So we get to do that and then share it with the people too. So why don't you let us know a little bit more about you, your background as an artist, creative, what you're studying or what you're finished studying, what you're interested in, all the things.
Yeah, so growing up, I've always really loved to draw. It helps to have a dad that was also very creatively inclined, so I was always very encouraged. I graduated almost a year ago from SCAD with a BFA in illustration, and my concentration is publication and animated illustration. So I really want to go into children's books, book covers, little animated stories, anything like that. I really want to kind of imbue childlike wonder and imagination into all the work that I do.
Nice, nice. And I think a lot of that, like, I see in the work that you've done for us, even though it's not specifically for children, a lot of the vibe that we want to present as a creative media company is like, yeah, that childhood spark of wanting to just like make something, use your imagination, get a bunch of your friends together, do a skit or this is back in my day, recording a radio show on tape and playing it back, like that. It's like that's the could be pretty cool. Like, oh, this will be fun. So that totally tracks. So could you tell us a little bit more about some of the things that, I don't know, either inspire you? It could be, art related directly. It could be, I don't know, taking a walk outside and looking at the trees. Like, what are some of the biggest sources of inspiration for you?
For me, it's definitely nature and animals. I think they have a lot of symbolism and meaning in them, and they're very universally understandable, regardless of age. But I do also really love creating things based on my life or experiences I've had and kind of putting a little fantastical spin on them. So it's based in reality, but there's something a little more otherworldly about it, even if it's just like a fictionalized version of something that actually happened. I think people connect to things that they can, directly understand, and pulling from life is, I think, for me, the easiest way to communicate that.
Amazing. Well, I actually would love to show the people a little bit about, okay, cut, snap. I actually would love to show the people a little bit of what your style is. And I would love to have you kind of talk through some of the, I don't know, the inspiration, the story behind. I think it'll just make more sense when the folks see it. So let's get here.
So this is my book cover design for a children's story that I wrote in my last year at SCAD. It looks reversed because that's how it's supposed to be formatted for printing purposes. And this story is based on my stepdad and I. I met him when I was 9 years old, and it was a very confusing kind of time being so young and having to kind of understand what it means to, get a stepdad and what that means for like my relationship with my dad. And I was a little averse to it at first, but, years later, he has been one of my biggest supporters. And I really wanted to write this story because I think step parents get a really bad rap in children's media. It's always like the evil stepmother or the evil this. And in reality, it can be a really fulfilling relationship. And I think there's not enough books out there that kind of talk about that and can help kids kind of process their own emotions. So this is just the cover. I wanted something simple, something focusing on the main characters. And there's a lot of, like I mentioned before, I love nature. There's a lot of flower motifs throughout the book. So I'm just kind of putting that into the cover. And I also have the physical copy right here for the people, front and back. And the inside's not fully finished because it's supposed to be a book dummy. So I'm, presenting this to publishers and being like, this is what it could look like if you wanted to pick this up. And I'm open to changes, but this is, I have a whole idea ready for you guys.
I love that. I love the vulnerability. I love the turning the vulnerability into whimsy, like you mentioned. I think that this is such a lovely representation of the power of both illustration and then mirroring that in the children's book genre. This is great. This is it's delightful. Oh, okay. Let's move on. I'm amped. What else you got? Tell us a little bit more about this piece.
Okay, so this piece is kind of like a concept look of the next book I would really love to write, about this young boy who is dealing with a sickness. Like, he is sick and he is finding comfort in his imaginary friend that is a snail. And the snail is kind of coming from this memory he has with his grandma and like finding snails in the garden. So we're kind of in his, imaginary happy world right here. I really wanted to play around with textures in a more like flat illustrative style than the previous piece, because that's kind of what I've been leaning into more now recently. And experimenting with hand lettering, like the text is all drawn by me. Just I really love these fun, like, otherworldly colors. I think trying to illustrate more symbolically versus like in an actual place is something I definitely want to work more on.
Yeah, this is very cool. It's very like space, but not spooky space. I am afraid of aliens. So this is a fun kind of space. Love it. Love it. All right. So let's take a look at your final piece. Ooh, what's going on here? There's a story here, I bet.
Yeah, so this is definitely more what I lean towards when I'm doing, personal work for myself, things, silly little posts on, the art Instagram. This is based off of an animation I did in 2023 that's on my TikTok that to this day it's still like it's my most popular video. And I love deer. Deer are my favorite animals, and I think there is something very powerful about, the metaphor of predator and prey, and how these things kind of conflict in nature, but you need one to have the other and vice versa. And it's also more representative like of personality types than the animals themselves. Like, I think there's a lot of people in my life who are much more like outspoken and confident, and I feel kind of like the deer, but I learn through them how to be more like a wolf. And I think in turn, like, I can help people mentally kind of bring out their inner deer. Amazing
stuff. Like, even I've seen your stuff, and your stuff is our stuff now, and I didn't even know the behind the scenes of all of this work that you're doing. It's incredible. So, I can 100% relate to graduating from art school and then being like, oh dear, Now what? Now what happens? So why don't you give us a little insight into, some of your goals, some of your plans, some of the things that you're like, I might want to try this, might want to try that. What is on your mind for career stuff, the fun stuff?
The really fun stuff. Well, I would really love to. I've been sending out my book to publishers, and I've heard a couple things back, but nothing totally set in stone. I would love to get this published, but I think within the next year, if I don't find a publisher, I'm considering self-publishing and fundraising and that kind of stuff. But I would also really love to work on more collaborative projects. Like right before I got on this little call, I was finishing up an animation for this film grad student's thesis. And the thesis is about the first female pilot in Georgia, which I think is a really cool story, and I'm really excited to see the whole cut together when they do the film showcase at the end of the year. And that project I've been working on my part of the project since October or September of last year. So I really, it has pushed me in really fun ways. It is getting other people's feedback and other people's, like creative direction, had me take this project somewhere that I originally didn't even see it going. So it's been really fulfilling to work with other people. Of course, I love working with Could Be Pretty Cool. You guys are my most frequent collaborators.
You don't have to. You
I wanted to. And I really want to maybe work on some more animations for people, or get a group of artists together and make like a collaborative little zine comic that we could all, share with people. I think I really want to connect with people in a time where I think people are really craving community right now. And I think art is very helpful in that sense. It brings people together, and I'm kind of going off track from post-grad plans, but big picture, I just want to put more art out there, bigger projects. Hopefully in the next year, I could see myself in New York. I really am kind of pushing to live there where all the big publishers are, and get some fun connections in.
Nice. I think that all sounds like a very strong and feasible ideation plan for the what's next, because we all know you got to have some sort of vision and direction, and just prepare for whatever happens next, because the things be happening. They happen. So, AJ, if someone is watching this and is like, wait, I think I know like a publisher friend, or actually I know someone who did the self-publishing route who may have some insights into, ways to succeed there, or I want a dope logo or some animation, or I want someone to illustrate my children's book that I'm trying to put out. How can people find you, find out more about your work? How can they do that?
So my website is ajcarolyn, that's CAROLYN.com. Has my Instagram links, has my LinkedIn link, it has my email. I'm open to receiving DMs or emails. Would love to collaborate with people. If we need to hop on a Zoom call or Google Meet or any of that, I'm also very open to that.
Amazing. Y'all hire AJ. This is what is it? A reference recommendation from a client. Very professional, always happy with the work, the delivery, the communication. This is a person you want designing stuff for you. So yeah, this has been another episode of Could Be Pretty Cool, just launched, and we will see y'all next time.
Thank you.